Bear down, Chicago Bears. We've got free agency questions that we're all kind of asking right now, and it begs a lot of different questions. The media would tell you that there was a market for Justin Fields. He was going to Atlanta. They would tell you, oh, yeah, we know he's going to Las Vegas. Duh. Wait, no, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's definitely definitely going to Pittsburgh. He's definitely they're absolutely going to Pittsburgh because duh. Wait a minute. No, actually, he's going to the Minnesota Vikings because duh. No, wait, he's going to go to the Philadelphia Eagles maybe because duh. What if wait maybe he's going to stay. Maybe they're we're all getting swerved. Maybe somebody there sees the improvement and they think that that's going to be what it takes in order for us to build a winner, to build depth, to get ourselves ready, and to pick up pieces that we need in this upcoming draft so that Justin Fields becomes that quarterback. And if you don't like that, you'll never like it. If Justin Fields takes the Chicago Bears to a Super Bowl, you're still not going to like him. You're still going to have a problem with him because you don't like him. And it's okay. It's okay. It gets better. You know what I mean? So now it seems like he hasn't been shopped. He hasn't done. There's no situation so far in which the Chicago Bears have shopped him around. Now, does that mean that Justin Fields sticks with this team at the end? I don't know. It's I think the decision has to still be made. And I do want to point out Matt Eberflus was at Bo Nix pro workout the other day. So it's crazy that here we sit. We're still evaluating quarterbacks. We're still trying to make the best decision. So here's the thing, and here's the ugly truth that's going to make some of your heads explode. Currently, according to the Chicago Bears, Justin Fields is the best option. Now, let that sink in. Justin Fields is the option right now until he's not. Now, that could change. There might be something that happens. But at this moment, Justin Fields is the man, whether you like it or not. Right? Now, Keith Hall is pointing out something very, very important because he was also there at Jackson Powers Johnson. Jackson Powers Johnson that I was not able to get in my draft today. I actually, matter of fact, not only did I do the draft, I also included my draft picks on my offense and defensive chart so that you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. This is what the team is going to look like if all of this stuff plays out. Now, if you haven't already, consider hitting the like button, subscribe button, bell to be notified of future content. But certainly help push me up in the algorithm. The more people that come in here and enjoy the show, the easier it is for me to continue providing the content that I do. And I appreciate each and every one of you. We're going to start off with the big thing here. What in the absolute F is going on in free agency? So far, we've had some signings. We've had Ryan Bates. We've had Kevin Byard. We've had Gerald Everett pop up out of nowhere and get signed. We had Tarvarius Moore, Jonathan Owens, Matt Pryor, Brett Rippon, DeAndre Swift, and then Amin Agbenabola. Oh, God, I'm not. Amen. Amen. Has been signed. And look, now we have 9 players signed. And, you got to be asking yourself the question, like, what exactly are we doing? Because some of it doesn't make a whole lot of sense, except when you look at the best performing defenders. Just this is kind of an outlier, maybe opinion, but if you look at the best performing group in the Chicago Bears, it was the cornerbacks, and the cornerbacks, not just Tyreek Stevenson, not just Jalen Johnson, but you had Kyle Fuller coming out and just balling out. You had oh my God, now Terrell Smith come in balling out. You had a great group of cornerbacks performing as some of the better players on that entire defense for the season. So guess what? Now we're starting to build a little bit of depth, but there are some big holes in this offense now, and we're going to see whether or not we can quote unquote fill those holes. You know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so here's the signing so far: Ryan Bates, Kevin Byard, Gerald Everett, and by the way, Ryan Bates is not a starter at center, but he is a center by nature, and he's a backup at center and guard. So he provides depth. He provides us with the opportunity to bring in some spot relief and a solid guy. Does that mean that he's the starting center? Might be at the beginning of the season because we don't have a guy yet. However, and I'm going to pencil him in, by the way, for the start of the season as the center, because I think anything that we finally get out of the draft, again, Jackson Powers Johnson is going to be that one guy, but I don't know that we don't like we have to trade down, and I want to go back. There was a moment in time where Ryan Poles said that if one person was available at number 9, he was all in on that person. So it is possible that, and in my draft, by the way, we chose that person because he was available, just to stick with what Ryan Poles has been talking about so far. Then we have Kevin Byard at defensive back. I assume that he's going to be the starter. But we also signed Tarvarius Moore at defensive back and Jonathan Owens. Now, each one of these guys is a free or strong safety. So, that means that, just in my opinion, that the cornerbacks and like the entire Bears secondary is now stocked. Is it elite? I don't know. That's going to take some time on the field. Tyreek Stevenson, he'll if he continues to improve, him and Jalen Johnson could be some shutdown guys. Like, they really could be some real shutdown guys. Now, if that is the case, then we've just created a very, very solid defense, and it becomes, what do we do with the defensive tackles? What do we do with the edges? What do we do with the linebackers? Well, the linebackers seem to be pretty good so far. Tremaine Edmonds, TJ Edwards, and Jack Sanborn thus far have been a good run stopping defense. Um, I think maybe we could use an upgrade, just kind of a random, big pickup out of nowhere, which we didn't really get. Amin Agban, God damn, I still can't say his name. Even though he's not that guy, by the way. He's not that starter. He's actually a special teams player that plays linebacker. So I don't think he's going to get a lot of time, or if he does, it's going to be some spot relief. It's certainly not going to be third down. He's going to be that second down swap guy every once in a while. So we'll see how this plays out. But then you have Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett represents a pretty good option at the tight end position. Again, a good blocker, not a great, by the way, he's not really integrated into a lot of offenses. So, at best, he's a good blocker. So there we have. And Shane says, are you guys rebuilding? Why spend all that in free agency, get all those draft picks? How often you make the playoffs with a rookie quarterback? Just saying, keep your quarterback. So maybe not. I don't know that I don't know if that's going to be the case. Maybe you still move on from Justin Fields. I don't know. But yes, it is still a rebuild. There are media narratives out there that say that the Bears are they're one quarterback away from the Super Bowl, and that's not true. That's just not true. It's objectively and provably false. It's not true. So, and then the question you have to ask yourself is, did we get better in this free agency? Now, so far, by the way, I want to say yes. I do think that we did get better. And there are some positions of need, and by the way, this is a very complicated draft when we get to it. But let's move on from the tight end, and then we did the defensive backs, and then Matt Pryor. Matt Pryor is a tackle. He's on a 1-year contract. We'll see how this goes. At this point, he's a serviceable and capable backup to Braxton Jones, I want to say, and a spot relief for Darnell Wright. We'll see whether or not he sees a lot of playing time or not. Hopefully, he presents a more valid option than Larry Borum. The worst thing that can happen to this team, in fairness, and look, I feel like every time I say this, I'm disrespecting Larry Borum, but I don't know him, so all I see is the work on the field, and all I can evaluate is the work on the field. And we're not talking about his character or anything about that, because I actually hear that he's a great guy. But the point is that he's not very good at offensive tackle at this point in his career. Matt Pryor does serve as an upgrade to that position. So shout out to Matt Pryor. Thank you for coming aboard. Then we have Brett Ripien, which means we now have 3 quarterbacks on the roster. So in the event there's a Justin move, then, that Caleb Williams comes into that slot and we have 3 quarterbacks, but we're not going to go with 4 quarterbacks. So any kind of creative something like that. And I don't know that they're going to move on from Tyson Bagent. And here's the thing: Tyson Bagent serves as a reasonable backup in the plan and probably matches up with Shane Waldron and his offensive scheme as well as Brett Rippon to begin with. So I think those two are going to be the backups no matter what. And now it's just a question of Justin or Caleb. And I think that right now we've settled on Justin, but we're not sold at this point. And I think that they really, before they make that big jump or that leap of faith, if you will, then they're doing their due diligence. Now, here's the other part, and I want to say this: we haven't seen a big splash in free agency. I don't think that I don't know where Justin Fields' head is right now. I don't know. I don't know the. I know the character of the man from what I see on TV, what I see, from him in the things that he does. But I don't know, whether this guy is. The point to this is, it is possible that they are working on a deal right now for Justin Fields. That's why he's not spending as much draft capital as he has. They could be working on finishing out this deal or giving Justin Fields, maybe like, just look, we're giving you $6 million this year. What if we give you $12 million this year and then $15 million next year and then $20 million with the team option to cancel the contract in 2 years. Maybe they just go, with a short-term contract for Justin Fields, and let's see what happens. We're not resetting the clock on you, Justin. We're kind of resetting the clock on you. We're going to give you more money now. We'll give you a little bit more money next year. And then after that, you're on your own, unless we get, if we do get that $40 million deal, maybe they do that, maybe they do that. I don't know. But if they don't, it'd be 25 million and then it'd be maybe 30 million, you know what I mean? Stair step it on your way up. And if they do something like that, that could be what's happening right now, and we just don't see it because we either want Caleb gone, or we want Justin gone, or we want Justin here, and we're like, well, it's going to be $6 million, etc. Stuff like that. I don't know. Nobody knows, but those are the creative things that tend to happen when you're in these sort of situations. Like, maybe we grease the wheel on Justin Fields. Look, we're resetting the clock on you for 2 years. Would you be willing to do that, or do you want this year and then maybe franchise, or you're a backup somewhere? You know what I mean? Like there's he's going to have to make some compromises and decisions about what he's going to do, as well as the Ryan Poles and the team. So free agency has been a wild thing. And look, Connor Williams could still come. I could be completely wrong, by the way. There could be nothing to do with Justin Fields. Connor Williams could be coming any moment now. We could see Chase Young pop up any moment now. Now, Chase Young, we're not on the list, by the way, of people that Chase Young is coming to visit, but no matter what, he would be a serviceable and viable option. And I did pick somebody up in my draft where I thought, that would be incredible if we could pick this dude up. So, and I am saying it, we'll see, you know what I mean? And Lord Crimson says, I hate to say this way, but I don't care as much about Justin or Caleb. I care about the team. Me too. And it is my opinion that the best thing for the team, period, is Justin Fields. That's my opinion, and that's okay, because I could be wrong. That's fine. And it's inside, and it's okay for me to be wrong when I'm trying to figure out what the Chicago Bears are going to do, but I want what's best for the team. And I'm going to look, I'll be a Caleb Maxey. I won't be wearing the shirt. I'll be wearing a number 13 with Bleeves on the back instead of Caleb Williams on the back, if that's if that is in fact your number. But I don't care. Like I would like to see Justin Fields because I like the story. I like to see I like to see him finish. You know what I mean? I would like to see that happen. Now, Yada says Chase is a loaf. I think so too. I don't know that Eric Washington gets into him and makes him into a better player. But here's the thing: he's affordable. He'll put in some work. I think I fixed the problem already in my draft. And I don't think I really stretched too much in my draft, other than trading down. You guys know I trade down on the first pick. I just don't like the fact that we're giving up. I don't like not having a team built through the draft. That seems silly to me. Again, we've got these positional players that we've gotten in free agency. We haven't made a big splash. I wonder if we make the big splash. So we'll see whether or not we do or not. So now the question becomes, and by the way, one more piece before we move on to Justin Fields. The Bears have agreed to terms with Amin Ogbong Bing. Fuck my life. It's going to be a while before I get that one right. But anyway, linebacker, like I said before, I mean, he's really a special teams player. And we'll see whether or not he, but if you look here, he has 36 sacks, 36 tackles. I'm sorry, a sack, 2 fumble recoveries over his 47 regular season appearance. So he doesn't play a lot. He also recovered a fumble in the team's playoff loss to the Jaguars in the 2022 season. Doesn't see a lot of playing time on the field. He was an 8th overall pick in the CFL draft, but he signed with the Chargers as an undrafted free agent. So he's out there. Maybe he'll improve, but he's going to be basically a special teams guy. And, we always need guys who are special teams guys who can also multitask and play that linebacker role just in case you need spot relief on a few plays. So a good signing overall. But now to get on to the Justin Fields thing. Now, listen, there's a bunch of different things and a bunch of different narratives that have been happening over the last little while about Justin Fields, and the media drives all of it. Ryan Poles hasn't said anything one way or another definitively. He said that if we move on from Justin, I want to do right by Justin. What does that mean? I don't know. Nobody actually knows what that means, but we know that he said it. That's it. So, what does that mean? Well, if you're in the media and you are furious with the Bears for not having made a trade so that you can look like, I called that shit, bro. Like, I called it. Like, I totally called it. You know what I mean? Here on the Windy City of Chicago.news.net or whatever stupid channel that you have over there. These people are like, we called it, bro. So here's the thing, right? Here's an article, and I'm gonna show you just there's a range of articles that are happening right now. Justin Fields rumors. No inclination Bears won't trade quarterback and draft Caleb Williams. There's no inclination the Bears won't trade quarterback and draft Caleb Williams. There's no inclination. Right. No inclination means there's no inclination the Bears won't draft Caleb Williams or pass on Caleb Williams and stay with Justin Fields either. But this is the narrative that you're trying to spin, because now what do you got? Hey, get back. Hey, pay attention to me because it makes me money, right? I mean, I do it too. I'm not, shout out to these guys. We all do the same thing, right? Because that's kind of the nature of this business, right? I want your attention. And then I want to tell you what I think. And then if you value what I think, then you keep tuning in and we keep talking. We keep having these conversations every day. And we keep talking about Justin Fields, or we keep talking about Caleb Williams, or we keep talking about the Chicago Bears, or we keep talking about how DeAndre Swift suddenly becomes the yard leader for an entire season for the Chicago Bears. Now, listen, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. However, we can have these funny discussions, or, DeAndre Swift, bro, he's going to be the next Gale Sayers. You know what I mean? My dad said that, you know what I mean? So there are plenty of different things, but anyway, we have that conversation because, I throw you some crazy thumbnail. I put orange stuff around everybody. I give them a nice little background. I do these AI art backgrounds so that you look at what I want you to look at my thumbnail, and you're like, you know what? I want to know what this guy has to say. You know what I mean? And then you come in here, you like me, and you continue doing this, or we continue doing this. We have the conversation. So that's what they're doing too. So with that, that's, this is what these things look like. So Justin Fields rumor, no inclination the Bears won't trade him. At the start of the offseason, it was widely assumed the Bears would be able to move Fields for compensation as high as a second-round pick. But this is Field Yates, by the way, from ESPN. However, now that the Bears have waited as long as they have, right? First of all, they didn't say they were moving to begin with. So why don't you why don't you roll that shit up into the, grab yourself some, shine it up real nicely, shove it straight up, whatever it is that The Rock says that you do. I don't remember exactly what that shit is, but do whatever he said do, and, turn it sideways or whatever. So I have no idea what's going on. Then the Las Vegas Raiders signed Gardner Minshew to compete with Aiden O'Connell. The Pittsburgh Steelers signed Russell Wilson to compete with Kenny Pickett, and the Bucks re-signed Baker Mayfield. The Atlanta Falcons signed Kirk Cousins, and the Minnesota Vikings signed Sam Darnold. So, where is he going to go now? Well, Washington and New England, they both need quarterback help, or do they? Because they're going to get draft picks. Jesus fucking Christ, these people are just out of their goddamn minds, right? And then anybody else who might be in the market, Jaden Daniels is out there. Anybody else who might be in the market, JJ McCarthy is out there. Look, there's plenty of different options. You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of different options. And a lot of people are like, well, he messed everything up because like he didn't say the right things, bro. And then that's why the market kind of, he was like, we move on, we're gonna do him right. And then everybody was like, it's stupid, right? Nobody knows exactly what the Bears are going to do. It's a business decision, and this business decision does affect a lot of us personally. I want to say this is one of the most incredible things in the history of the Chicago Bears. Like it really is one of the biggest, most controversial moments in Chicago Bears history. We got to acknowledge that. Like that is absolutely crazy to know that we are right here in the middle of what is just a wild moment in time. That wild moment in time, his name is Justin Fields. Just kidding. Anyway, so it is fair to wonder if the Bears will be willing to trade Fields to a division rival like the Vikings due to the possibility of Fields developing into a star and coming back to haunt them. There it is, right there. The possibility of Fields developing into a star. I think a lot of people are putting a lot of effort into thinking about that right now. That is the very thing that they're looking at. And you look at me and I say, I think that he does have what it takes to develop into a star. I see the flaws in the game. It doesn't escape me that he took 3.23 seconds to throw a pass on average. It does escape me how we're not all looking at the same thing and we're not all kind of picking it apart and saying, well, you know what? He had the benefit or to build a stat like that, he had the benefit of a really bad defense to start the year where the defense didn't had him throwing the ball when he wasn't comfortable throwing the ball. And number two, the offensive line at that point had not gelled. And remember, if you will, Braxton Jones was injured at the beginning of the season. First 7 games of the season was Larry Borum. And Larry Borum is like a sieve holding water. You know what I mean? Like he was under duress the entire time. So all of this stuff is kind of moving. These moving parts didn't paint a good picture. The question at some point, however, becomes, can he get better? Right. Well, again, I told you yesterday, 2.97 seconds was Patrick Mahomes. So we're looking at 3.23 versus 2.97. Patrick Mahomes out here winning Super Bowls. So is Justin Fields that far away from, not, by the way, being Patrick Mahomes? I think Patrick Mahomes kind of in a league of his own. However, what I do want to say is that Justin Fields can throw for 3,000, 3,500 yards. He can. He actually did it better than Caleb Williams in college. So it's not that he can't do it. It's that he was not coached properly to do it. That it's kind of simple. But I do think that we are probably, you know what? We don't even know. We have no idea exactly what's going to happen. But here's the thing. This narrative right here says, well, we don't know that the Bears are not like trading Justin Fields, just still drafting Caleb Williams. Like, you don't know that. You don't know that, bro. Well, you don't know it the other way. So shut the fuck up. You know what I mean? Also, Justin Fields' trade market isn't shrinking. It never existed in the first place. What? What? Right. It didn't. It did. Fuck my fucking life. This is wild, right? These things are wild. So here's the narrative. Well, the Bears are going to trade. Let's go back and we're going to run it back one more time because it's fucking wild what these people say. Like these and where people can hear you. This lady's writing an article where people can read this shit, right? Justin Fields' trade market isn't shrinking. It never existed in the first place. Well, no shit, because you were the one that said he was going to Pittsburgh. You were the one that said, oh, he's going to Atlanta. You were the one that said, oh, he's going to Philadelphia. You were the one that said, oh, he's going to the Las Vegas Raiders. You were the ones that said that. There was no reason for there to be a market in the first place. That's ridiculous, right? And see, Yada, if you want people to respect your opinion of I don't like Caleb Williams, then how do you get 2,562 yards? I know it's not the 4,000 that you want. I know it's not that number that you want, but he does know a forward pass. As a matter of fact, he completes those forward passes with 61% accuracy. Not the 70% that you want to see, but he still does. So if you're going to have a problem with it, have a real problem, not a pretend problem, because it makes you look kind of silly. Like stick to the I just hate Justin or something like that. It's a little bit easier to tolerate. Anyway, so The trademark isn't streaking. It never existed because it wasn't there. It was manufactured. It was in your brain, lady. Carmen Vitale, by the way, is her name. Lady, like, get over it. This is the market was not there because there was no market. The Bears, then we find out after these guys craft this incredible narrative. If you craft this incredible narrative that says, "Oh, no, Justin Fields get traded," and you do all this, and then all of a sudden you now have to backtrack because you look like an idiot, and every one of these people look like idiots. And by the way, I'm going to look like an idiot when Justin gets traded, just so you guys know. But I accept that, and I understand that, and it's going to be okay because I'm going to tell you at the end of it. You know what? I prefer Justin. That's it. That was it. I prefer Justin, not because I thought Justin Fields was a game changer. It's because well, let me rephrase that. I do think he's a game changer, but not that I don't think Justin Fields has the capability of being it. But I don't think that Caleb Williams is a hugely better option to get them into the playoffs right now. The end. A guy coming out of college doesn't start in the NFL. Trevor Lawrence, 2-14 his first year. Peyton Manning had 31 interceptions in his first year. And we look at Peyton Manning as one of the top 10, maybe top 5, maybe top 3 quarterbacks of all time for a lot of different people. He's the other guy not named Tom Brady that we look at and say, well, he really actually had a pretty good one. Well, you know what? 31 interceptions in his first season, or 28 interceptions in his first season. Anyway, a lot of interceptions. Does that mean that Peyton Manning sucks? No, it means that people like Yaka and people like Patriot USA would be like, hey, fuck this guy. He can't be on my team. He ain't worth a shit. Let's get rid of him. Fuck this guy. He's horrible. How do you throw 28 interceptions in your NFL start? How do you only go like 2-14? Like, Jesus Christ, like, get off my fucking field. And then you look at the second year and you're like, well, he's only 10 and 20. So he can't even play. Like, he totally sucks. Like, you make these kind of, we take a bad team and you decide that, well, this quarterback sucks because he's been on this bad team for a little while. So duh. Like, you guys don't even think this shit through. You're just like, I don't like him. And by the way, the same people who are saying that are the same people who are saying the Bears offensive line was actually really good, bro. If you really take away, like, so the Bears offensive line, bro, they're really good. If you don't have a defense, like, if there's nobody on defense playing, then the Bears, they can block everything. And you know what? Those running backs, they're just going to run for touchdowns, bro. Like, no shit. Like your stupid takes are still stupid. So anyway, there's no market. There was no market. But then it gets better because there is another angle that we're now addressing here. Eagles have a backup quarterback problem. Justin Fields might be the resolution, because here's the thing. The media has crafted this narrative. They've crafted this narrative, and that narrative now has to be true. There can't be any, well, Justin Fields is staying. Justin Fields can't stay. I said he was going. So now they're leaning into it and they're sticking with their narrative. They're sticking with everything in it, right? So that is just another of these crazy things. And then you have this article here. Windy City Gridiron says why the Chicago Bears haven't traded Justin Fields yet. By the way, they don't know. They may not know. And here's the thing. Now let's look at some real reasons why maybe this hasn't happened. Maybe it is destined to happen. Maybe there is going to be a trade. Maybe it's not really a matter of compensation. Like, maybe sometimes you move on because it's better for everybody. Maybe that's the case. All offseason, we've been told to look at the NFL Combine or the start of free agency as the magic hour in which the Bears would trade Justin Fields away and unequivocally embrace the future at quarterback. That decision, as everyone with connection and knowledge of the league would tell you, isn't really a decision at all. So why hasn't it been made yet? Why is Justin Fields still a Chicago Bear after all the teams we originally saw as fits for him? There it is. All the teams that we, the media, saw as fits for him, that he didn't sign with them. So can it really be that nobody wants him? Even if the end result does feel somewhat inevitable, the current reality is a bit more complicated. Number one, Caleb Williams messed up the timeline. Caleb Williams, the guy who was supposed to be here, but didn't show up and said, you know what? I can't make it. I can't make it. I'm trying on a new outfit. And I don't want to be jet lagged. I don't want to be like, you know how when you fly, you don't feel good? I don't like not feeling good or so, whatever he said. I don't know what he said. No one is yet suggesting Williams' team decision to delay his post combine meeting with the Bears has changed their feeling about him, but it was likely delayed certainty on the Bears' part to take him. The Bears don't need to see Williams throw. Of course, they've seen more than enough of knowing how he throws, but they do need to see his medicals, which he has chosen to give out to teams individually during his meetings with them. Not that we should expect anything to be wrong with him, it's just due diligence. Then, of course, the Bears will meet with him and his team to talk about next steps. Another chance for Williams to keep putting distance between himself and the perception people had of him coming into the combine. After that meeting later this month, we'll likely see things start to move in earnest, which brings us to the Bears are not just giving away Justin Fields. So the Bears may not actively be calling teams about Justin Fields, but that doesn't mean they won't trade him if they hear a compelling offer. So if you think Ryan Poles is stubborn about his valuation on players, why would you expect him to be any different when it comes to trades? The league doesn't want to oblige for several reasons. Why not wait Chicago out for a better price if you know they're going to trade him anyway? Number one. Number two, why commit draft capital to Fields now when you might have a shot at a quarterback you like in the draft? For example, the Raiders didn't choose Gardner Minshew over Fields. They chose Minshew and a possible shot at J.J. McCarthy or another rookie over Fields. And if you're Brian Poles, why take a low ball offer before you have to and before you're 10,000% sold on your future direction, which Poles apparently is not yet. So there, we don't know. He's weighing everything. Now, that's the thing. What if Justin Fields said to him, look, you know what? You're right. I would take less money to kind of stick around, and I would make a deal with you right now in the third year, fourth year of this deal. Maybe he changes the narrative because the narrative is about having that quarterback that's still running on an inexpensive contract. Maybe, just maybe, that kind of changes around. I don't know that is or is not the case. So there's a lot of compelling stuff here that we really haven't gotten into, and we'll see how this all ends up. Now, it's time to. So here's what I did. You know what? Let's skip that. Let's go to the draft. This was my mock draft of the day. I wanted to give you guys a breakdown of what I did here. So I traded down on number two. On my trade down to number two, I ended up taking Marvin Harrison Jr., and I picked up quite a few draft picks. And then at number 9, this is where it got interesting for me on my draft. Number 9, I ended up taking Dallas Turner. Now, the reason I took Dallas Turner was very simple. Ryan Poles has said openly, if Dallas Turner is available at 9, he's taking him. Okay. That's the reason that I took Dallas Turner at the 9 position. That solves 2 problems that we have as weak positions, right? Wide receiver has been strengthened with Marvin Harrison Jr., and number 9, Dallas Turner, has strengthened the edge rushing position. So there we go. I've addressed the needs of the team, and then I moved into the second best center in the draft, and I got at number 40. I moved down from number 34, I think it was, or number 36. I moved down, got some more draft picks, and I took Zach Frazier. Zach Frazier is the center out of West Virginia. Again, not as good as Jackson Powers Johnson, but still he's a first round worthy center that falls into that second round by virtue of a strong quarterback class, a strong wide receiving class, and some pretty good edge rushers, by the way. I might add. And then number 47, I was able to take Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey is he's one of those sure-handed sort of guys that just seems to find his way to get open. That's a real good slot receiver type, in my opinion. And he showed out in the skills drills at the combine. So he's played his way up into the early part of the second round. And I was fortunate to get Ladd McConkey at that wide receiver spot at number 47. So now I've solved not just my Z receiver, I've also solved the slot receiver, I've solved the defensive end and the center position. And now that takes me into, I'm still right here at the second round, right into the start of the third round. I got Michael Hall Jr. By the way, for the purpose of this, we're going to call him MHJ2 because it's the same initials, Michael Hall Jr., Marvin Harrison Jr. So 2 MHJs on Ohio State, and we're going to get both of them. We got Marvin Harrison Jr. and Michael Hall Jr. So MHJ and MHJ2 are now on the team. And then at number 70, 3 picks later, I'm able to come in here and grab Braden Fisk. Braden Fisk, by the way, is one of my favorite defensive tackles but I recognize that Michael Hall is probably a little bit better as a prospect. That doesn't mean that he's the best prospect, but I think I think if I'm able to get both of these guys, oh man, I feel like my defense is just a lot better. So that's where we are with this. Now, moving down Braden Fisk, we move to Chris Braswell at number 75. This is an early third round edge rusher to replace Dominique Robinson. Dominique Robinson doesn't do anything, right? Hasn't had a really good time. Again, I feel disrespectful when I say stuff about these guys, but Dominique Robinson really has not been a very good NFL player so far. So he's got to go. Chris Braswell is a reasonable person to pop into that. And then at number 117, Mason Smith, a defensive tackle out of LSU. Now I got three solid defensive tackles in my mix. Are they starters? I think Michael Hall would be forced into the starting role, but I don't think he would. I think it may be Gervon Dexter, but I went ahead just for the purpose of this, and I still left Gervon Dexter off of it for the moment and just said, let's put Michael Hall in there just so we have two MHJs on the roster. And I thought it was hilarious to put MHJ2 on my sheet. So, it's my goddamn show, so I get to do wild shit like that. Anyway, so then we took Jaheim Bell, tight end at Florida State in the 4th round, I think that was a pretty good selection. We got Gerald Everett. I assume Mercedes Lewis is coming back. So now we've got this guy. Maybe goes to the practice squad for the first part of the season. We know that Mercedes Lewis is on the clock. This is his last season if he resigns. And if he doesn't, then, this guy's going to be in place. And then number 204, I got Caden Wallace. I suddenly don't need a whole lot of help at the line because I got my center. And I've got Ryan Bates as my serviceable backup for positions. I've signed oh my God, Matt Joyner. Did I just say, Jesus Christ, I can't remember. Oh my God, now I'm losing my mind. Anyway, so we signed Matt Pryor. God damn it. So we've already signed an offensive tackle. Now we've got another development offensive tackle. And I think we did a pretty good job of this. So now what does the team look like? Well, the team looks like this. This is what my team. Yes, Crimson. They did have staff members, but they called it Bo Nix. They called it the Bo. They said that Bo Nix was the one that they were. It was the media, of course, but they were saying, "Oh yeah, they're here to see Bo Nix." They're not here to see Bo Nix. They're here to see Jackson Powers Johnson because they want to find a way to get the center. But yeah. So anyway, Matt Eberflus was there to see Bo Nix at his pro workout. And by the way, look, if you're sitting in the stands and you see all of the Oregon players working out, technically you're there for Bo Nix, right? So whatever. What the fuck ever. Anyway, so this is what I got now. So now at our edge positions, we have Montez Sweat and Dallas Turner. I really think this looks like a solid lineup. Then we have at defensive tackle, we have MHJ Part 2 and Andrew Billings. Now, Gervon Dexter probably is the starter, but again, it's my goddamn show, so I get to put MHJ Part 2 into the defensive tackle position. Anyway, but we shore that up. Now, at cornerbacks, we got Jalen Johnson, Tyreek Stevenson, and of course, we got Terrell Smith and Kyler Gordon behind those guys. And I think Everett Smith is still there too, or Thomas Everett is still there. So we've got great cornerbacks. We got a great squad of cornerbacks. And then the Sam linebacker, we got Jack Sanborn. The Mike is Tremaine Edmonds, and the Will is TJ Edwards. So we've got everybody in. Same guys as last year, but now we've got Amen coming in. So I think this is not. I think this is not bad, right? And then at free safety, we have Kevin Byard. For the moment, we have Kevin Byard. Now I don't know if it's going to be Jonathan Owens. Jonathan Owens, by the way, strong safety. So I would think he's just backing up Jaquan Brisker. But Kevin Byard out here, we got Tarvarius Moore. These are serviceable backups. These are great players to have in these positions. So that defense suddenly looks to me, because I'm drafting it, right? But to have Dallas Turner as your edge rusher and to have some big ass talent at that defensive tackle position, along with Andrew Billings, these are run stoppers. You know what I'm saying? These are run stoppers, and Montez Sweat and Dallas Turner are pocket collapsers. I really like what I see right here. So hopefully we'll see how this kind of plays out. But So that's what it looked like there. Now let's look at the offense. I took the question marks away, by the way, and there are 12 men on the field. Don't flag me for bullshit on the play, by the way. Okay, I did put 12 people on the field. I recognize the math. The reason that I did that was because of the recent pickups that we have. So we have to talk about them. At the wide receiver one, of course, we have we have DJ Moore. Wide receiver two is now Marvin Harrison Jr. Slot receiver is now Lad McConkey. And then our line, at this point, I haven't made any changes. I didn't put Zach Frazier in. I left it with Ryan Bates. I assume that he would be starting the season. And again, he didn't have that funny name like MHJ Part 2, so I wasn't going to put him in the lineup that way. Anyway, so you have Braxton Jones, Tevin Jenkins, Ryan Bates, Nate Davis, and Darnell Wright. Then you have Justin Fields at quarterback and DeAndre Swift. So now that becomes interchangeable there. Justin Fields is supplanted just in case by Caleb Williams. Then we do make that trade, we do make that move onto the roster. But I mean, suddenly, and then we have Gerald Everett. So remember, one of the things that's important, and Oscar Franco, I did address that in this. I did address that over here. We took the second best guy available in Zach Frazier at the number 40. The Jackson Powers Johnson move would take a lot to get to. In my opinion, in my opinion, you would have to compromise on that edge rusher position. And then unless we get an edge rusher, again, like I would take Chase Young and be a serviceable backup, or he could start the season or something like that. There are some pieces. There are some pieces that are in place. Um, maybe that we don't see yet. So maybe that number 40, Zach Frazier, maybe we don't need him because Connor Williams gets signed or something like that. So, it still have to, there's still pieces that have not fallen into place yet. So, but anyway, that's where we are here. So this team suddenly looks like a much better team than it was. It's certainly a much better team than it was last year. You know what I mean? Like this is an improved roster, and I think it's improved in every way, especially on this defense. And guys, I want to say this. I'm really excited about the defensive tackle position. I don't like Justin Jones not being there, but like I said before, I do think that he was replaceable, especially for $10-13 million a year. So you get into this draft. Now we got 3 defensive tackles, and that's a gigantic number for me. Like that is an incredible. Like I think we just conquered the draft. You know what I mean? Like I think we just nailed it, if you will. So and then Ryan Poles has fixed everything else with his ability to navigate this entire ecosystem and get us free agents, et cetera, et cetera. So the remaining free agents that are still out there, I'm watching the wires and I'm looking to see big moves. Really, just kind of looking at Tom Pelissero, Ian Rappaport, looking to see what the next big moves are. So I'm just waiting to see if we see another big move by the Chicago Bears. And guys, I do want to say there's still always that possibility that a Justin trade happens. So be on the lookout for it. So anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. The whole idea here is we want to make sure that you guys get the best knowledge. And look, I am at this point in favor of Justin Fields. I don't think that Justin Fields is so much better than Caleb Williams that it's a no-brainer. Okay. I do want to stress that. I also don't think that Caleb Williams is so much better than Justin Fields that it's a no-brainer. The complication in this situation really, to me, comes down to the amount of draft the amount of draft capital that you could obtain from that first pick means a lot to me. And then number two, I understand why no matter what you would want to reset the clock on the quarterback position, which is why I just said, if you're paying $6 million a year to Justin Fields, what if you gave him, 15 million this year? Maybe that's why Ryan's saving a little payroll. What if you give him 15 million this year, 20 million next year, and then 25 million the year after that? And now you've kind of smoothed out the problem. And you've said, Justin, recognize your issues, your weaknesses. Maybe there is something out there. Now, Robert Fryle says Caleb is sus. Now, there are some people out there that do have a problem with Caleb Williams, And it's fair for people to have a problem because we don't know a testament of this, of his character yet. We see what he wants us to see. He's a $10 million a year. He already makes $10 million a year, right? So, he's not, what I mean? Here's the thing. I think that I think the Bears are going to do their due diligence. I think they're going to be on the right path here. It doesn't mean that we're not going to trade. Again, I think that Justin Fields represents to me the better option right now. But that decision is not financial for me. It's look, Justin Fields owns the hearts of most of Chicago. The toughness that you need, that's him. The will, that's him. The guy who embraces the city, that's him. Will that be Caleb Williams? I don't know that will or won't be. So, that part of this to me is sentimental. But at the end of the day, whoever the quarterback is going to be. We're a better team no matter what. We are a better team today than we were at the beginning of last season or last free agency. We have now improved to the point that this is a playoff team, the end. We are a playoff team. The question now is how good can we get and how much can we shore everything up in order to make it a deep playoff run? Or are we just going to pop into the playoffs and get bounced the first time? You know what I mean? And Be Yourself says that's the problem. Heart's involved instead of brains. And look, here's the thing. I agree that there are some, but here's the other part to that is the brains that see if you see the product on the field with Caleb Williams and you don't see 33 fumbles in 31 games, and you don't see the and you don't see the emotional baggage that might be coming with this guy. If you don't see all of Caleb Williams and you just see the product on the field, then you're not doing your due diligence anyway. You're just saying, hey, guy, throw ball. And you're just saying, well, that works for me. I've seen him throw interceptions. I've seen him. He can't beat top competition in college. And we say it's a team game. We say it's a team game until we look at certain aspects, right? And then we just kind of pare away what we don't want to see, and then we see what we want to see. Does Caleb Williams come up big in big games? No, he doesn't. I mean, that should be known. That should be known, right? Now, they had a defensive problem, by the way, but so did the Bears. So if we're making comparison here, it's the same problem. So that's why I say that, again, it comes down to Caleb Williams or Justin Fields, but it's Caleb Williams versus draft capital, and then Justin Williams versus is Caleb Williams that much better? The answer is no. No matter how you look at it, you have to take everything into consideration, and no, he absolutely is not. However, it's the payroll, and that does matter, and then the draft picks. And look, I think having 3 draft picks instead of Caleb Williams to me is way better. By the way, if you didn't notice on my draft analysis over here, I got the 2025 Washington first round pick. Who knows what they're going to have? So, this is this is where we are. So we'll see what happens. So thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you hit the like button on the way out. Helps push me up in the algorithm. And then leave a comment down below because that also helps me tremendously, and I would certainly appreciate that. So that's it. That's our show. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you again same time tomorrow.